Alright guys, what's up? It's the Ascension of Babylon. What we do here is we talk about the occult, we talk about spiritual development, and we talk about the healing process. If that's your thing and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, absolutely let me know by leaving a like. And of course, if you want to comment anything, this is a safe space, this is a healthy space, and say what you got to say. I would love to hear your input. Anyways, we're going to be talking about what it actually means to have your third eye open. So just jumping right into it, I know this is a term that seems a little woo-woo and it's kind of mystical and things of that nature, but there is a more practical way of understanding what this means. So when the third eye is open, that is our ability to see through the veil. That is our ability to see within, or we can say into, the collective unconscious. We can kind of read the energies and the patterns that are in the unconscious, creating all of conscious experience. So for instance, I do a lot of very unique breakdowns on my TikTok of like what's going on in the collective, the people involved, what archetypes they're embodying or what energies are influencing them, signs, symbols, synchronicities, and numbers that might kind of follow them. And I put it all together to give us like a communication in relation to like the driving energies that are manifesting it. Once again, I'm sensing and seeing into the collective unconscious where most people aren't necessarily sensing and seeing into, and I'm usually giving the breakdown based on what is being reflected back to us on a collective level in relation to the individual, meaning we all co-create experience here on earth, we're all interconnected, and when there's something happening on the world stage, that's going to reflect something back to us because we're all one thing, we can say one God consciousness or source energy, experiencing itself in a multitude of different forms. So all humans are interconnected, and it would be wise for us to find relatability with each other. In fact, people that are more psychic, we understand this interconnectedness, and we're able to see that. We're able to see the interrelated, interlocking patterns that most people are, disconnected or separated from actually seeing. So, once again, the third eye is the ability to see beyond the veil, to see through the veil that is stopping most people from actually being able to sense into the deeper energies that are manifesting the physical experience. And first and foremost, we do this on a personal level through the principle of as within, so is without, because we're able to explore and to travel into our own unconscious. We're also able to see through the veil of what is happening on the world stage and what is happening in society. So like when the average person is just believing in politics, believing what some corporation says, believing what some group of people says, we're actually able to read the main driving influence that even the people, corporations, whoever it is involved, is not actually able to see themselves. They probably don't even know the main driving force that is causing them to do whatever or say whatever or to initiate whatever it is into the collective consciousness. So this is what it means to have the third eye open. We're able to sense, feel things, and see things that the average person is not able to see. We're able to see numbers, sequences, patterns, and we're able to see into the collective unconscious itself, where reality actually originates. So if it happens in the physical experience, whether it's in our lives or it's, on a collective level, we are all co-creating it based on what is going on in our unconscious. So we have the unconscious, and then we have the conscious created experience that is, rooted in whatever is in that unconscious. So when we have the third eye open, we're reading into and sensing into the unconscious. We're able to see things that other people are not necessarily receptive of. Now, this can come with a multitude of different psychic abilities, astral projection, certain forms of visualization that are directly related to the astral dimension, different kinds of dreaming states. There are different psychic, or we can say extrasensory abilities that can come with the third eye being open as well. So the third eye is directly related to the chakra system, and it's in direct association with both the pineal and the pituitary gland that are in our heads. So when we're going through a spiritual awakening, we can start to actually open up more and more the third eye energetic center. But the thing with this is, there's actually like a negative to this, is this level of awakening can cause us to disassociate from our bodies and to live inside of our heads, to live in more of a mental-based state, to where we can actually disconnect from, we can say, the energy, or we can even say the consciousness, I think, of the heart itself, and rather than our mind being in sync or coherent with the body and heart, we can actually use the third eye and the abilities that come with it to further disassociate from the body, because spiritual awakening, which is a big part of opening the third eye, can actually come with a very long, we can even say lifelong process of getting back in touch with the body and creating physical experiences that might actually, to some extent, force us to have to be present. In fact, it would be wise for us to be present with what is going on inside of our bodies and what is going on inside of our lives, which is going to be in direct association with our body. So basically what I'm saying is, we go through early childhood trauma, we even inherit intergenerational trauma from our ancestry and from our family in general. And when we don't process the energy of that trauma, so more so the emotions associated with it, we can almost look at it as sticking to the body, or we're kind of like binding that energy in the body, and it's really just becoming crystallized inside of the physical body. And what this is doing is it's increasing the energetic charge that that trauma has. So even if we're living in our minds disassociated from the body, the resonance inside of the body due to that trauma is going to manifest, create, and attract experiences that are holding the same energetic resonance that is inside of our body. So there's plenty of people that have different psychic abilities, they do these different chakra meditations and stuff like that, and they're going through a major process of spiritual awakening, because it does come with having the third eye open and connecting with the third eye. However, without knowing it, they have this protective response that is activated inside of their system, causing them to latch on to different psychic abilities associated with the third eye, and then they're using those abilities to disassociate from the deeper healing process that is actually taking place for them, that if they were to honor, would actually help them ground those psychic abilities into a more authentic state of being. So just because somebody has these different abilities that come with the third eye being activated or open does not mean that they're actually honoring their process, does not mean that they're actually being authentic to who they are, and does not mean that they're not actually bypassing a much bigger process that is taking place for them. In relation to the chakra system, we want all of the energetic centers to be balanced. So just because somebody has a blasted open third eye doesn't mean that they're actually having a sense of safety in their body, which would be associated with the root. Doesn't mean that they're actually living in coherence with their heart. So this is called mind-heart coherence. They might actually be completely closed off and shelled within their heart's energy center. So, this means like half of their power and potential is essentially taken away, because the heart energy center, or the heart chakra, is very, very important in connection to the rest of the chakras. So when we're imbalanced within the heart, we're usually imbalanced within the root, and we're imbalanced within the other energetic centers. So there has to be a balance. So once again, just because the third eye is blasted open, maybe the person is seeing spirits, they're channeling entities, they're having these cool dreaming experiences, maybe they're picking up on certain patterns that are taking place within the collective, that doesn't mean that they're living in an embodied way, because to be embodied, there has to be balance within the energetic centers, and we have to be living inside of our bodies in a regulated way. So another way of looking at it is a person can have this blasted open third eye, but their nervous system can actually be very dysregulated, because having a blasted open third eye can be used as a form of disassociation. There are parts of us that can latch on to the different psychic abilities that come with that, just to keep us out of our body. How many people do you know that are psychic, or that they're spiritual, and they live inside of their heads? They're wanting to go to 5D. They're wanting to manifest this other thing. In the occult space, it's people that are always talking about spirits and doing these rituals, and I think they mean well, but what they're actually doing is trying to disassociate from living inside of their body. And this is the essence of fragmentation. It's when we create a belief system, we create an identity, all to escape just living inside of the body. And as souls, this is what we're here to do. We are here in a physical body because this is what we're choosing to experience for a higher reason. We're choosing to incarnate into the physical plane to have a physical experience. And once again, this is absolutely for a reason. So the dark side of actually opening the third eye is it can become very imbalancing, and it can become a tool of disassociation and further fragmentation to people that are not aware of the different protective responses within the system, and they're not, aware of just the larger picture of what activating the third eye is going to bring us into on an evolutionary level. So when we activate the third eye, this is very much associated with the mind, but then your soul is going to bring you into a process of bringing the mind and the body into coherence, into a, high level of sync, because we actually come into the world with the mind and the body being in sync, but when we go through trauma, we fragment away from the consciousness of the body. which is also fragmenting away from the consciousness of the heart. So when it comes to opening the third eye, there's actually a process of shadow integration and healing that needs to take place in relation to different traumas that we've been through, and even intergenerational traumas that we've inherited from our family line and or our ancestry. This is what a lot of people don't know, and they end up going into some pretty bad mental states sometimes, or just, living kind of shelled away from who they are, or just kind of in ignorance, we can say, because they're trying to escape the awakening process that they've oftentimes initiated for themselves. So once again, this kind of person isn't really aware of what is going on. I'm sure they mean well, but they're not actually embodied within the source self energy, because they're using that third eye to actually disassociate. So the third eye is a very powerful thing. It initiates an entire evolutionary process of its own, and you want to be aware of this if you're doing different practices to start opening up the third eye. There's different meditations you can do. There's different breathing techniques you can do. There's even different occult rituals and different entities that you can call upon to start kind of stimulating that third eye energetic center. But you need to keep in mind, you want to honor the process that's going to unfold after that, because psychic abilities are great. And when you're more attuned to who you really are, and you're living inside of your body, not just living in your head, there's going to be a natural intuitive function that we all have, that we're all born with, that does become active. But if we're staying in our heads and we're over-identified with the pursuit of these psychic abilities and things of that nature, because we're trying to avoid different traumas that we don't necessarily want to process and release from our bodies because it's uncomfortable, this just creates more damage in the long run. So I think this is what I really wanted to say. And yeah, I'm going to end the video right here. If you watched all the way to the end, I appreciate you very much. And I'll certainly catch you in the next video. Thank you.